Have you ever looked in the mirror, paused and thought, "How is it that time has passed, yet I still see a light in my eyes?" Have you ever smiled at an old photo and realized you carry the same spark, untouched by the years? If so, listen closely. This message is meant for your soul. If you look younger than your age, it means you have carried your burdens with grace. It means you have met sorrow without letting it harden your heart. It means you have endured life's storms and still remembered how to dance in the rain. It means you have lived not just with years, but with wisdom, understanding that what matters is not how much time has passed, but how much life you have preserved within. In the Stoic way, beauty is never merely skin deep. It is the outward reflection of an inward mastery, the art of accepting what we cannot change and focusing all our energy on what we can. Let me share a story with you. There once was a woman named Helena. She lived through wars, betrayals, and unimaginable loss. At 60, her hands bore the marks of labor, but her face shone with a soft, ageless light. One day, a young traveler asked her, "How do you look so peaceful after all you've endured?" Helena smiled and said, "Because I never allowed pain to change the goodness in my heart. I accepted suffering as part of life's fabric, but I chose to stitch it with threads of hope and gratitude." She didn't chase happiness, she built it inside her. She didn't run from hardship, she stood with it, learned from it, and let it polish her spirit like stone turned into gem. If you look younger than your age, it means you have honored your soul. Number 1. Truth youthfulness comes from inner resilience, not appearance. There is a silent and powerful truth that few truly understand. Youth is not measured by the absence of wrinkles, the glow of the skin, or the shape of the body. True youthfulness is not trapped in the cage of outward beauty, nor is it something that time can steal. It is a living fire within, kept alive by resilience, by the strength to endure without allowing hardship to deform the soul. When we meet someone who looks younger than their years, we often compliment them without understanding the deeper miracle we are witnessing. It is not merely a matter of luck or genetics. It is, more often than not, a testament to how they have carried themselves through the tempests of life, a testament to how they have suffered, yet refused to let suffering make them hard or hollow, how they have lost much, yet still walk with a lightness of being, still able to smile genuinely, still able to love fiercely. Outer beauty fades because the body is subject to nature's laws, but the spirit, when cultivated rightly, shines brighter with time. In the Stoic tradition, we are taught that life's blows are not meant to break us, but to reveal who we truly are. A resilient soul accepts pain, injustice, and loss as part of the grand weave of existence. It does not resist fate in anger nor surrender to despair. Instead, it uses every experience as a forge to strengthen its core, to refine its virtues. Imagine two people facing the same hardships: the loss of loved ones, betrayal by friends, the collapse of dreams. One becomes cynical, bitter, carrying resentment like a heavy chain around their neck. Over the years, their face hardens, their posture stoops, and a certain dullness takes root in their eyes. The other chooses a different path. They mourn, they grieve, but they also accept, forgive, and let go. They learn, they rebuild. Their body may show signs of age, but their spirit remains light, unburdened, almost luminous. The lines on their face are not carved by bitterness, but by laughter and wonder. They do not carry the heavy burden of anger, and so their entire being radiates an ageless vitality. Resilience in its purest form is a radical act of self-preservation and growth. It is the decision to stand up again and again when the world has every reason to believe you should remain on the ground. It is the refusal to allow fear, sadness, and failure to settle permanently in your heart. Resilience polishes the soul, and the soul's condition inevitably becomes visible, subtly but unmistakably, in the way a person moves, smiles, and lives. The mind, too, plays a crucial role. A mind shackled by regret, envy, or guilt ages quickly. Anxiety and anger erode vitality faster than time itself, but a mind anchored in acceptance, gratitude, and disciplined thought, that mind breathes life into the body. In this way, the Stoics were right. It is not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Those who master their inner dialogue master their emotional life, and in doing so, they preserve the vibrant energy of youth long after the body begins to age. Moreover, resilience feeds directly into emotional health. An emotionally healthy person has faced their demons without allowing them to take permanent residence. They have known sadness but have not become sadness. They have known betrayal but have not become distrustful. They have known injustice but have not become vengeful. They have become, paradoxically, softer, not weaker, but more open, more alive to the richness of human experience. Such openness creates a kind of beauty that no amount of cosmetics or surgery can replicate. It is a beauty born of authenticity, of deep self-acknowledge, and of the refusal to close one's heart to the world. There is also the matter of forgiveness. Those who look young in spirit and body often carry very little hate. They have learned that holding on to grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. They forgive, not because others deserve it, but because they deserve peace. And peace is a mighty preservative of life's brightness. The heavy emotional armor of resentment adds invisible years to the body. Letting it go is like shedding weights one has carried for decades, feeling lighter, freer, younger. In addition to emotional resilience, those who stay youthful have a keen sense of purpose. Purpose breathes life into our days. When a person wakes up with something meaningful to do, something that aligns with their values, something that calls forth their best self, they infuse their lives with energy. A person without purpose withers quickly, no matter their age. A person with purpose remains vigorous, curious, and dynamic. Their eyes retain the sparkle of someone who knows they are needed, who feels they are part of something larger than themselves. The relationship with adversity itself changes in the resilient soul. They do not curse their suffering, they see it as necessary training. Just as the sculptor must chip away at the marble to reveal the statue within, so must life chip away at the illusions, the vanities, the weaknesses that otherwise would leave us stagnant. Each blow, painful as it is, frees something truer inside. Resilient people do not see themselves as victims of fate, they see themselves as students. Every experience, good or bad, is a lesson in the art of living well. This attitude naturally slows the aging of the spirit. If youthfulness is partly a matter of how open, curious, and compassionate we remain, then those who meet life with a student's heart retain these qualities indefinitely. They continue to learn, to adapt, to find wonder in small things. They do not fall into the trap of thinking they have seen it all, known it all, suffered it all. Every sunrise is still a gift. Every conversation still holds the possibility of revelation. Another key element is the way resilient people relate to themselves. They are often kind to themselves, not indulgent but compassionate. They understand that to be human is to err, to fall short, to stumble. They do not whip themselves endlessly for past mistakes. Instead, they seek to make amends, to learn, and to move forward with dignity. This self-compassion shields them from the corrosive effects of shame and self-hatred, which can prematurely age the soul and the body alike. There is an old saying, "You cannot pour from an empty cup." Those who maintain youthful energy know when to rest, when to replenish, when to step back and breathe. They honor their limits without seeing them as failures. They live in a kind of rhythm with themselves and with the world, flowing where they must, standing firm where they should, but never wasting precious energy fighting battles that wisdom has taught them are not theirs to fight. In the end, resilience is about alignment with life's deeper truths. It is about recognizing that life is change, loss, and rebirth, endlessly. To fight this truth is to exhaust oneself in vain. To accept it is to ride life's waves with a sense of grace. To fall and rise and fall again, each time with a lighter heart and a wiser mind. The resilient, youthful soul does not demand that life be easy or fair. It simply decides to live well, come what may. Thus, when someone looks younger than their age, it is a visible, tangible manifestation of invisible victories. Victories over despair, victories over bitterness, victories over fear and smallness and hatred. Every line on their face is a story of endurance, every smile a testament to the battles fought and won within. They are living proof that true youth is not about resisting time, but about cooperating with it, learning from it, allowing it to shape us into beings of greater depth, tenderness, and strength. Their presence alone inspires others, not because they seem untouched by life's hardships, but precisely because they have been touched, deeply touched, and yet have chosen to respond with love instead of hate, with courage instead of fear, with gratitude instead of complaint. They show us that it is possible to live a long life without becoming jaded, that it is possible to suffer without becoming cruel, that it is possible to lose much and still be rich in spirit. True youthfulness, then, is not a prize reserved for the lucky few. It is a reward earned by those who have loved greatly, suffered deeply, forgiven quickly, and hoped fiercely. It is the natural consequence of living with open eyes and an open heart, of walking through fire and choosing each time to emerge more beautiful, more human, more alive. Number 2. Stoic endurance preserves the spirit. There is a kind of strength that does not roar, a kind of victory that is invisible to the world yet monumental within the soul. It is the strength to endure. Not merely to survive hardship, but to meet it with a calm, steady heart. It is the power to continue onward when everything outside of you says stop, give up, collapse. Stoic endurance is not about the absence of pain, it is about the refusal to allow pain to define or defeat you. And in this quiet, almost hidden endurance, the spirit is not crushed, it is preserved, fortified, made luminous. Endurance is often misunderstood. To endure is not to be passive, nor is it to pretend that suffering does not hurt. To endure, in the Stoic sense, is to stand fully present in suffering without surrendering your dignity, your clarity, or your virtue. It is to let the storm rage around you, yet remain unbroken within. It is to feel grief, loss, betrayal, fear, to feel them deeply, but to answer them not with despair, but with a deeper loyalty to the highest part of yourself. When life deals its harsh blows, many people collapse inwardly. They allow circumstances to dictate their spirit. Their happiness rises and falls with fortune's whims, like a leaf tossed by the wind. But those who cultivate stoic endurance anchor themselves to something stronger than fate. They anchor themselves to their own reasoned choice, to their inner inner principles. They understand that while fortune may rob them of wealth, health, status, even loved ones, it cannot touch the one thing that is truly theirs, their soul, their character, their response. This inner fortress is not built overnight. It is built choice by choice, small act by small act. Every time a person refuses to betray their integrity, even when fear whispers otherwise. Every time a person practices patience when anger would be easier, courage when fear would be natural, forgiveness when revenge would be sweet. The walls of the inner fortress grow stronger, and within that fortress, the spirit does not merely survive the passage of time, it is refined by it, made purer, stronger, more radiant. The ancients taught that pain itself is not the enemy. our judgment of pain, our fear of it, our resentment of it. These are the true dangers. Pain is merely an experience, a teacher in rough robes. When we meet it with resistance, with complaints, with bitterness, it grows monstrous in our imagination. But when we meet it with steady eyes and a heart prepared, it shrinks back into its true form, a passing trial, a challenge to be borne with honor. Consider the example of the seasoned sailor. When the sky darkens and the waves rise, he does not curse the sea. He tightens the sails, he grips the wheel, he steadies his mind. He knows that the storm is not personal, it simply is. And so he focuses not on wishing the storm away, but on mastering his ship, mastering himself. So too with the Stoic heart. When misfortune descends, it does not rage against reality, it adjusts its sails. It preserves its spirit by focusing wholly on what can be controlled, thoughts, actions, attitude, and letting go of what cannot, the swirling chaos outside. This focus on the controllable is one of the great secrets of endurance. A mind tangled in desires for what cannot be secured or in fears of what cannot be avoided is a mind forever in turmoil. But a mind disciplined to rest only on what lies within its own power is a mind that can remain at peace even in the midst of the greatest upheaval. And peace, true peace, is the soil in which the spirit remains forever young, forever strong. There is an undeniable nobility in those who endure well. Their presence speaks of battles fought silently and victories won inwardly. They may not boast, they may not even tell their story, but you can sense it, the depth in their eyes, the calmness in their voice, the kindness in their hands. Their spirit has been tested and has not broken. And in that endurance they have preserved something that the easy comforts of life could never produce. True wisdom, true compassion, true greatness. One of the most profound aspects of Stoic endurance is its deep alignment with nature. Nature itself endures with quiet majesty. The mountains stand through storms and centuries. The trees bend in the wind but do not snap. The river carves its way through stone, patient and relentless. When we endure with grace, we mirror the resilience of nature itself. We participate in something larger than our personal story. We become part of the vast, enduring life force of the world. Endurance is also an act of supreme hope. To endure is to believe, even when every visible sign says otherwise, that there is meaning in pressing forward. It is to trust that somewhere beyond the present darkness there is light. It is to affirm with your very existence that dignity, virtue, and courage are worthwhile, even if no one sees, even if no reward comes, even if the suffering seems endless. The act of endurance itself becomes its own form of triumph, a quiet rebellion against despair. Those who practice Stoic endurance learn to measure life differently. They do not ask, "Was this experience pleasant?" They ask, "Did I meet this experience with honor?" They do not expect life to be easy, they expect themselves to be resilient, and so they move through life with a certain unshakable confidence. Not the brittle confidence of arrogance, but the deep, steady confidence of one who has faced much, lost much, and yet retained their essential self. Such people do not wear their suffering like a badge of victimhood. They do not parade their wounds for sympathy. They carry them silently, letting the pain do its work of transformation. Their scars are hidden beneath smiles. Their sorrows are woven into the fabric of their compassion. They understand that true greatness often wears humble clothes, and that the soul's finest victories are invisible to the world. In this way, Stoic endurance purifies the spirit. It burns away illusions of control, of entitlement, of invincibility. It leaves behind what is real: humility, patience, clarity, and love. It strips the soul bare, but in doing so reveals its true shape, strong, simple, enduring. The beauty of endurance is that it is accessible to all. It does not depend on wealth, talent, or external power. It is a choice available to anyone at any moment. The choice to stand firm, to stay true, to keep walking forward. It democratizes greatness. Anyone can become noble, anyone can become wise, anyone can become beautiful in spirit, simply by enduring well. And though the world often celebrates the loud, the flashy, the victorious, it is those who endure silently, who fight invisible battles, who grow invisible gardens in the wastelands of sorrow. It is they who are the true heroes. It is they who keep the world human, who remind us that grace under pressure is still possible, that dignity under suffering is still real. Stoic endurance also teaches us patience with others. Having suffered much and endured well, we no longer judge others harshly. We recognize the hidden battles they may be fighting. We become slower to anger, quicker to forgive, gentler in our expectations. Our own endurance softens us, not into weakness, but into a kind of fierce compassion that sees the brokenness of others and still chooses to believe in their goodness. Finally, endurance allows for true joy, not the shallow joy of temporary pleasures, but the deep, abiding joy that comes from knowing you have faced life fully, without cowardice, without bitterness. It is the joy of integrity, of a clear conscience, of a heart that has remained open even in the face of suffering. It is a joy that does not depend on circumstances, because it is rooted in the eternal, unshakable part of ourselves. To endure is to live nobly. To endure is to shine in the darkness. To endure is to declare with every breath that the spirit is stronger than the forces that would try to extinguish it. And in that endurance, the spirit is preserved, perfected, and made eternal. Number 3. A graceful heart is the real fountain of youth. There is a timeless truth that few recognize until they have walked many roads, suffered many losses, and witnessed many seasons pass. Youth is not solely a matter of years, but of the state of the heart. A heart that remains open, kind, courageous, and tender. That is the true fountain of youth. Wrinkles may form on the skin, and the body may slow with time, but a graceful heart defies the calendar. It carries within it a vitality, a lightness, a purity that no passage of years can diminish. When we speak of a graceful heart, we are speaking of a heart that has known sorrow but has not closed itself in defense. A heart that has tasted betrayal but has not chosen bitterness. A heart that has seen the cruelty of the world and yet continues to believe in beauty, goodness, and hope. Such a heart is rare because it requires a deep, daily courage. It is far easier to harden, to build walls, to shut down. But to remain open, to remain loving, is to declare war against cynicism and despair. In the Stoic tradition, we learn that it is not the external world that determines the quality of our lives, but the choices we make within. A graceful heart is one that chooses, again and again, to respond to life's hardships, not with complaint but with gratitude, not with resentment but with understanding. It is a heart disciplined in compassion. Not a naive compassion that denies evil, but a wise compassion that sees evil clearly and yet refuses to let it poison the soul. Imagine a field battered by storms, heavy rain, fierce winds, scorching sun, and yet through it all a single flower continues to bloom. Not because the storm was kind, not because the sun was gentle, but because the flower's roots run deep, drawing life from hidden springs beneath the surface. So too with the graceful heart. It draws strength from a deeper source, an inner wellspring that the trials of life cannot dry up. Those who carry a graceful heart possess a rare serenity. They do not rush through life, desperate to grasp at pleasures before they fade. They savor each moment, even the small, ordinary ones, because they know that life itself, fleeting, unpredictable, precious, is the greatest gift. Their laughter comes easily, not because they have been spared pain, but because they have learned that joy and sorrow are not enemies but companions. Each makes the other more profound. To cultivate a graceful heart is to practice forgiveness, not once but as a way of being. Not only forgiveness of others, but also forgiveness of oneself. The weight of guilt, the chains of regret. These are heavy burdens that age the spirit far more quickly than time ever could. The graceful heart acknowledges mistakes without clinging to them. It seeks to make amends, to grow, to heal, and then it moves forward, lighter, freer, younger. Gratitude, too, is a defining feature of the graceful heart. Those who are truly young at heart do not waste energy mourning what they lack. Instead, they give thanks for what they have, however little it may seem. They understand that to breathe, to see, to love, to be loved, these are miracles in themselves. Gratitude infuses their being with warmth, with vitality. It lifts the spirit above the petty grievances that so easily embitter the soul. There is a quiet humility in the graceful heart. It does not demand recognition or applause. It does not need to be the center of attention. It is content to give without expectation, to serve without seeking reward. It finds fulfillment not in dominating others, but in uplifting them. This humility, paradoxically, elevates the person who practices it, making them radiant in a way that no outward ornamentation can match. The graceful heart is also deeply resilient. It bends without breaking. It weeps without surrendering to despair. It dreams without demanding that life conform to its desires. It accepts what is with dignity and strives to improve what can be improved with courage. This resilience, born of acceptance and effort, creates an inner flexibility that keeps the spirit supple and vibrant, no matter how many winters it has seen. There is a magnetic beauty to those who live with a graceful heart. When you meet them, you feel seen, valued, uplifted. Their presence is soothing. Their words carry weight, not because they shout, but because they speak from a well of lived wisdom. They have no need to prove themselves, no need to compete or compare. They rest in themselves, in a quiet confidence that life, though often painful, is still worth embracing fully. A graceful heart also guards against the slow poison of envy. Envy shrivels the soul, making it small, bitter, old. But the graceful heart rejoices in the good fortune of others. It sees abundance where others see scarcity. It celebrates the successes of others as if they were its own. In doing so, it remains expansive, generous, full of life. The cultivation of a graceful heart requires daily practice. It requires mindfulness, the awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, and actions. It requires vigilance against the creeping vines of bitterness, self-pity, and resentment. It requires discipline to choose love over fear, hope over despair, kindness over anger. Each small act of grace strengthens the heart, keeping it young, keeping it whole. Stoic philosophy teaches us that external events are beyond our control, but our inner world is ours to shape. The graceful heart embodies this truth. It does not rail against the winds of fate. It does not collapse under the weight of injustice. It stands firm, a silent testament to the power of inner freedom, and in that freedom it finds an eternal youth, not the youth of unlined skin or vigorous muscles, but the youth of an unbroken spirit. Consider the story of an old woman who lived through wars, poverty, personal tragedies, the loss of her children, the betrayal of friends, the long loneliness of widowhood. Those who met her, even in her 80s, spoke of her extraordinary vitality. Her eyes sparkled with mischief. Her laughter filled the room. She listened with a depth of attention that made others feel seen and cherished. When asked the secret of her undiminished spirit, she would smile and say, "I decided long ago that no matter what happened, I would not let life make me bitter." She was a living fountain of youth, a proof that the heart's posture toward life matters more than anything that happens to the body. There is wisdom in surrendering to the flow of life, in trusting that even pain has its purpose. The graceful heart does not demand that life be easy or fair. It asks only for the strength to meet whatever comes with grace. And in that asking, it discovers that the very act of meeting life with open arms, even when they tremble, keeps the spirit forever young. Love, too, is central to the graceful heart, love not as fleeting passion, but as a steadfast choice. Love for the beauty of the world, even when it breaks your heart. Love for people in all their flawed magnificence. Love for the very mystery of existence. This kind of love softens the soul, expands it, energizes it. It makes life in all its complexity worth living. And those who love deeply, who love with eyes wide open, retain a youthful wonder that no hardship can extinguish. Perhaps the greatest gift of a graceful heart is its ability to create ripples of healing wherever it goes. In a world bruised by cynicism, anger, and fear, the presence of someone who lives with open-hearted grace is a balm, a beacon, a silent invitation for others to do the same. This is a kind of immortality, not in the sense of escaping death, but in the sense of leaving behind a legacy of light that continues to shine long after the body is gone. The body will inevitably change. Hair will grey, skin will wrinkle, strength will wane. These are facts of nature, and to fight them is to exhaust oneself in vain. But the heart can remain forever tender, forever courageous, forever open. And it is the heart, not the body, that defines the true quality of a life. The real fountain of youth, then, is not hidden in distant lands or secret formulas. It is found within, accessible to all who dare to live with a graceful heart. It is found in forgiveness given freely, in gratitude offered daily, in love extended bravely. It is found in the silent, daily choice to remain kind, to remain open, to remain alive in the deepest sense, no matter what life brings. A graceful heart is not merely a nice thing to have. It is the very foundation of a beautiful, meaningful, youthful existence. It is the quiet, indestructible treasure that outshines all the fleeting glories of the world. So today, if someone tells you, "You don't look your age," smile with gratitude. Not because your skin is smooth, but because your spirit is strong. Not because time has spared you, but because you have mastered the art of living. You are living proof that resilience is the finest beauty there is. Stay radiant, stay humble, and carry the fire forward. Thank you.